Do you want to increase service revenue, retail revenue, patient satisfaction, rebooking rates? Well, if you do, you are in the right place. I'm so excited to be sharing with you my 7 steps to a 5-star consultation, because that's what we all aim for, right? So the reason why I created this training is because years ago, I saw the vast difference in return on investment for your marketing dollars had to do drastically with what the medspa did with the patient once they came in. And I realized that there was such a variation from one med spa to the next when it came to their consultation process and the quality at which they were doing it. So it's really important that your med spa have a consultation process that is philosophy-based, but systems-driven. Reference a business that is not super sexy, but massively successful, which is McDonald's. What I love about McDonald's is it doesn't matter what city or even country, for that matter, I am in, I know what their French fries is going to taste like, because they're very systemized and they're philosophy based. And so what I challenge you to do in your med spa, and I've really done like 80% of the work for you, there's just a little bit of scripting to customize it, what's really gonna work for you and your personality and the structure of your team and the vision that you have for the complete patient journey. Let's dive in. And as you are reviewing this training and this template, make sure that you are making notes, that you are circling or highlighting the scripting or verbiage that's going to work for you and your team, because there's not one right way to do it. So you got to figure out what is going to work for you, and then you have to trial and error it, practice, 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 because at first you're going to be a little bit robotic, but once you really master this and you can speak with confidence from your gut, not only are you going to generate more revenue, but you're going to get better patient results as well, because we're not under treating them. We're not doing a la carte treatment plans or one and done treatment plans. And so really it's a win-win for everyone. So the first part is that your energy, your passion, it's really contagious. And the front desk needs to be welcoming them. They need to know that you are excited, that they're there, that you value them, and that you're doing the little things to make them feel pampered and cared for. Now, as we move in to the paperwork, one of the most important things is sometimes missed by med spas is this aesthetic interest questionnaire. The important piece of the aesthetic interest questionnaire is not giving them a list of services, but a list of pain points or problems that you solve. Because most patients, that's the language that they speak. They don't necessarily know the brand name of a device or what exactly an IPL treatment does or laser resurfacing does or what BBL is or Forever Young. They don't identify with that type of verbiage, but they do know fine lines and wrinkles. They do know I want fuller lips, unwanted body hair. So in the aesthetic interest questionnaire, you want to focus on pain points and problems that you solve. Every single patient should fill out an aesthetic interest questionnaire, because why this is so important, and not to just do it with first-time patients, is because the first time I come in, I may not tell you my whole laundry list of problems and challenges. Every day I change, every month I change. I age, I have new life events that come up, I'm exposed to sun, all of these things. So while today I might not have a scar, right? But 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, right? Now all of a sudden, oh, I didn't even know that you had a treatment that could help me with that problem, right? So the aesthetic interest questionnaire should be with every single patient. Now, don't freak out if you're one of those people that is like, oh, we only do electronic paperwork, because this doesn't need to be kept. This literally is a conversation starter. So if aesthetic interest questionnaire is something that you need some help with, reach out to us. We'd love to help you with that. One of the things that I love to make you look like a real first-class luxury brand, right, is have the beautiful folder that you can put everything in for your patient, right? So you have their treatment plan, you have their skincare instruction plan, you have some brochures from the treatments and the skincare that you talked about. Maybe you have a new patient voucher or an event coming. So many good things can be put in here that really make you look like a first-class med spa. Now, as we go into the next step of engaged dialogue, there are two things that is really going to allow you to uncover all the pain points. Because oftentimes if I come in and I say, and I'm there for Botox, and even in that consultation that you start off with, what are your main concerns? What are we seeing you here today for? Oh, some wrinkles on my forehead. Even though there's a whole laundry list of other things, when it's on paper, sometimes it's a little easier to mark those things off that you can ask additional questions. But if they still don't give you those, there are two tools that I love to use. So the first one is the mirror, right? When you look at, you hand your patient the mirror and you move their hand and you make them look real close. And then you ask them, what do you see when you look in the mirror? And you kind of have that sparkle in your eye and you say the tone very caring and positive, because that's a positive conversation. But what do women do when they look at the mirror, especially when that mirror is close to their face? We begin to shred ourselves and say all the negative things that we see when we look in the mirror. You might say like, oh, I love my blue eyes, but I also see X, Y, and Z. And that is going to be your gateway into uncovering more pain points and learning more about what they've tried, what they've done, what their timeline is. So the mirror is really a great tool because it's the first point in which you can elicit an emotional response. It's a very emotional thing to look at yourself in the mirror in front of a stranger and tell them, expose to them what bothers you. And you want to keep asking follow-up. Is there anything else? What else do you see? After you use the mirror, I like to move into taking the before pictures. All too often, med spas wait until they have a commitment to a treatment to take the before photos so that they can just track results. I think the before photo is an underused tool to get a commitment to a comprehensive treatment plan, a large high-ticket treatment plan. And what I can tell you is that when you use the before picture, whether it's on your phone, in your EMR, Vizia, a Photo RX, whatever the tool that you use, doesn't have to be fancy or it can be fancy. If you were to take a picture with your phone, let's just say we don't go fancy right now, whether it's on a technology or just your phone, what I want you to do is to zoom in and out, right? So let's say the patient talks about the melasma on the side of their face, or let's say you're doing body contouring and you can zoom in on their love handles. I look at myself every single day in the mirror, but if I have to look at it on camera with another person, it's like, oh gosh, here's my credit card, take it, tell me how to fix this problem. So you want to use both the mirror and before photos to help patients commit to a treatment plan. These two tools will help to elicit an emotional response. When an emotion is attached to buying, you will spend more. So anytime you can elicit an emotional response, you're gonna be more likely to get a commitment from that patient. And one of the questions that I really love to ask in the consultation before I make recommendations is, how quickly are you looking for results? So let's say they're in there for any kind of laser or facial. As you are delivering that consultation, This question is going to open the door to injectable. So anytime you're doing a laser treatment, a esthetician treatment, and you're uncovering pain points, it's really great to ask them, how quickly are you looking for results? Because if they're looking for fast results on skin tightening, adding volume, fine lines and wrinkles, anti-aging, right? Injectables is the fastest route to that. So that, instead of like, oh, are you interested in learning about Botox or filler, which can be scary, right? This question is going to be your gateway to educate them on getting that quick, immediate result with injectables. And then we can work on what's going on the intracellular level underneath the skin with lasers and devices. Very, very powerful to convert them over. And then you want to get that micro commitment and pre-qualify them to make sure that you've uncovered all of their pain points, and ask them, if I could map out a plan to help you get the results that you are looking for, would you be interested to follow it? It's very simple. Yes. Why else are they there? If they say no, then let's go back to the pain, because the pain isn't real enough. You haven't dug deep enough on the pain, right? Now, sometimes you might, well, it depends on how much it costs, depends on my schedule. Then at least that tells you what is going to be a deciding factor, okay? Before you go into giving them a recommendation for the treatment plan, you want to credential yourself and or the practice. You want to position yourself as the authority, why they should listen to you when you tell them you need X, Y, and Z treatment to get the results that you are looking for. So make sure you know what makes you different and special. Just last week, I was developing this with a client, and we talked about how they had over 100 5-star Google reviews, how they are the trainer to other med spa providers and injectors. They're such experts. And we had it dialed into 2 to 3 sentences that just made them look like rock stars, and why they should choose them over the competition, because everyone offers neurotoxins and fillers, and everyone has facials and body contouring and devices. And you know that you have more training, and you know that you have better technology, right? And that you're cleaner and you're safer and you're nicer to your patients and you care about your patients. But unless we're telling our patients what makes us different and special, a lot of times the conversation is about price, not about the result that you can get them. So it's important that you know and that you communicate what makes you different and special. All right, now the fun part, when you get into the treatment plan. So this is where I will pull that before picture or that mirror if I need to. It's a tool to restate using the same language that the patient shared with me, the sun damage, the melasma, whatever the patient terminology used. I'm going to restate that and have them look in the mirror again, or look at their before photo and zoom in and restate what that pain point is right before I present them the treatment plan to solve that. I'm going to make sure that it is written, right? Because you're the expert, like this stuff inside and out. But for a lot of patients, this can be new. And so you want paper forms that they can hold and take home with them. It includes the pricing, includes the timeline of everything, includes skincare instructions, includes potentially the vehicle that's going to help them complete this treatment plan affordably. That could be through patient financing. That could be through joining the membership, right? You have to figure out in your patient journey, what is the vehicle that is going to help them to affordably be able to complete this transformational treatment plan? Because as women, we love to say, well, oh, husband, look how much money I saved. By joining the membership, I was able to save this much money. By doing the package, I was able to save this much money. I had 0% financing for 6 months, and this is the monthly payment. So make sure that you're showing them the value and able to communicate that. And then don't shy away from price. as long as you can share with them why they need it, how it's going to work for them, how long the results are going to last, all the things. Never shy away from price. It's just part of it. It's just part of it. And make sure you're managing their expectations. And when you are making the recommendations, be forward thinking of what are the common questions and objections for this specific treatment or variation of this treatment plan, to cover those before you go in and ask for the commitment. Throughout the recommendation, try to look for quote unquote buying signals and getting micro commitments along the way, so that when you do go in for your closing statement to ask them to get started, you feel really, really confident. Now comes down to the fun part, like the closing. And this is where a lot of med spas will falter, because they will hand them off to the front desk without getting a yes or a no. And that's such a mistake, because you just spent a half hour, an hour with this patient. You have the relationship, the rapport, their trust, the authority. So if you hand them off to your front desk that don't have those things, your percentage rate is greatly going to close. And I want to arm you with some different verbiage and scripting so that you're not feeling salesy when you ask for the commitment, but that you feel really confident in helping the patient to make a good decision, to move forward, to feel better about themselves, and finally get the result that they were looking for. So you got to figure out, what is it? A lot of people start with this, but this is another option as well. Does A or B sound good for you? Are you ready to get started? Today, we discussed a couple different treatment plans that will improve X, Y, and Z. Which plan would you like to go ahead and move forward with today? Do you see none of these options include really a no, right? Or let me think about it, or get back, and like pet peeve, guys, is when a provider or an esthetician says, well, call us when you're ready. It's never okay to leave it in the hands of the patient. Even if you have the most stellar consultation, and there are times that they need to think about it, they got to check their finances, they got to talk to their husband, right? There's just no way around that. I still don't want you to say, well, call us when you're ready. But be like, okay, I understand that. You think you're going to be able to have that conversation with your husband by Friday? Should I give you a call on Monday? How's Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock? Is that going to work for you, for me to follow up with you, or for our front desk to follow up with you at that time? You want to be a leader in the consultation room. You want to be a leader in the next step in the treatment plan. So you want to get a yes or a no. Now, if they say I need to think about it, maybe what I really like to shift the conversation to is, okay, I understand. Was there any other questions that you would like to cover? Or let me ask you this. If money wasn't a consideration, do you believe and see how this treatment plan could get the results that you're looking for? And the answer to the question is going to give you some insights of where you need to go back. And I'm not saying add additional discounts. I'm saying maybe you need to go a little bit deeper on the financing. Maybe you need to shift and say, well, what were you hoping or liking to spend? And then you could go back and be like, okay, you really need all of this to get the results that you're looking for. But I understand it might not just be in the budget at this time. So let's go ahead and get started with this first treatment. But you'll know to get that end result, when the budget allows, you'll need to do X treatment as well. Should we go ahead and get started with that first one today? Should we go ahead and get you scheduled for the first part of the treatment plan? There's some very specific examples in this training that you need to just decide what's going to work with you to help be able to zig and zag and shift the conversation so that you can ultimately help more patients. And in the beginning, it might feel a little bit robotic, but eventually, if you practice it, if you apply this, if you figure out which of these statements and questions is really going to feel good and comfortable for you, I promise you, you are going to increase your service revenue, your retail revenue, your rebooking rates, and your patient satisfaction and results. It's really a win-win for everyone. You might have to create some little note cards, right? And I've highlighted on here some really important things that I just strongly believe you can't skip in the consultation process. So you got to memorize those. And then with the scripting, you got to find what feels the best for you. Write those on note cards. You want to practice it. You want to role play. Best thing yet is record it. Teach it to others. These are all tips and tools for you to become a master in the consultation room. Final steps is to plan and execute the next steps, which is to schedule out the entire treatment plan and get a commitment to that. You want to schedule it all in. If you sold them a package of 3 RF microneedling, schedule all 3 of those appointments. If they say, oh, well, I'm just a little bit unsure, I would say, well, let's schedule it in this way right now. And if we need to make adjustments, we can, but this is really the optimal scheduling protocol to get the best results possible for this treatment. But if you need to make some adjustments, we can do that down the road. Just we want to make sure that you give us proper notifications. Okay, so you want to make sure you schedule in everything. If you need to offer financing, offer financing. Don't get caught up in the financing fees, guys. There's such good financing programs out there. Cherry being my favorite right now. I think that it's super user-friendly and it's good for both the med spa and the patient. So make sure you check out Cherry if you haven't already. Get a deposit. If you just spent a half hour or an hour with someone and now you're going to go and book out 60, 90, a 2-hour treatment, you want to either have them pay or in full or put a good deposit down to reserve that much time on your calendar. Make sure that the patient leaves with their treatment plan, their skincare instructions. I'd love to see you have swag bags that you can put their skincare product in, or a really nice folder to put all of their forms and brochures. And then the final step is that 2-week follow-up call, that 2-week touch point. And there's a variety of reasons that you need to do the 2-week. If you got a no or a let me think about it, then you want to check in with them again. Or if you just did a treatment on them, let's say you had RF microneedling or you did filler, right? You want that 2-week touch point. That's that high touch luxury customer service to see if they had any questions, if they had any concerns. Right? If they left without rebooking, let's rebook their next appointment. Start talking about next steps, reinforcing it, how to use the membership, all of these. There's so many different things that you could be touching on that 2-week call that's going to make them loyal. That's going to increase the number of visits per year and the average spend per patient, right? If they just bought skincare with you, follow up with them and see how that's going. Have they been able to incorporate it into their daily routine? They just started retinol. Encourage them to keep it up, right? And that it's normal to be a little bit red or a little bit flaky, but I promise you, you'll build up a tolerance to it and you're going to love the results, but you got to stick with it. You got to reinforce and validate the investment that your patient made in that 2-week follow-up call. So that is my 7 steps to a 5-star consultation. I didn't go through every little detail on there because I really gave you a lot of great examples and scripting of verbiage in each section of my consultation framework. So I'm excited for you to take this, to learn this, to make it your own. And just practice, practice, practice. And eventually you're going to be so confident when you do it. The proof is going to be in the pudding when you're tracking your numbers and you're seeing an increase in service revenue, an increase in retail revenue, an increase in rebooking rates, and an increase in patient satisfaction and results. I mean, what more could you want? Thank you so much for joining me. And if you have any questions or would like a follow-up support on really implementing a 5-star consultation yourself or with your team, make sure that you reach out.